Welcome to step 6, which is the final step of our creative process, and we are going to put all of the parts together in this last lesson and create your brand style guide. We're going to use your logo, your color palette with those hex codes that you've saved, your fonts that you just picked, and you can also add to this brand style guide any patterns, textures, icons, or even your photographic style. So really, what is a brand style guide? Well, a brand style guide is a simple document where you reference all the different parts and elements of your brand so that you yourself or a graphic or web designer down the line to do some design work for you, they know exactly what they can and can't use because they have this information. So they'll know what the different variations of your logo are, they'll know exactly what your colors are, and they won't be allowed to use any other colors than that. And same thing for your fonts, so that way your brand stays consistent across all your platforms. What we don't want is for you to use some colors on Facebook and something a bit different on Instagram, and your website looks even more different. We really want to have this cohesive look across essentially the internet, and that is what this reference document is going to help you make sure you have. So what is absolutely necessary in this is your logo, your color palette, and your fonts. That's the minimum, and that's what we're going to create together today. But you can also add things like patterns. So for example, if you know that you are going to use a lot of stripes in your design, and this is an important part of your brand, you want to put that in there. If there are certain icons that you like to use in backgrounds, for example, as a patterns, you can put that in there as well. And some brands also write in their brand style guide the tone of voice that they want to use in their copy, as well as their photographic style. So for example, you could have a few pictures in there that showcase the type of photography that you want to use when you take pictures for your brand. So maybe you have a really moody kind of brand and all of your pictures have a really dark atmosphere to them, and in that case you would want to showcase pictures like that. Or on the opposite side, you might have a photographic style that's really bright with always a lot of light and fairly white backgrounds, and you might want to put that in there as an example. So let's dive into canva.com so that we can design your mini brand style guide together. So here we are back into Canva one last time to create your brand style guide, and I'm going to click create a design in the top right corner here, custom dimensions, and here I'm going to keep the 1000 by 1000 nice and square, create new design, and we are going to add to this white page all the different elements that make up your brand. So the first thing is of course your logo. So we're going to go to upload here and click on upload an image or video, and then you want to locate where your logo files that you just downloaded in a previous lesson from Canva are. In my case, they're right here. I'm going to select both of them and click on open so that they upload into Canva, and as you can see, they're uploading right here. As soon as they're finished uploading, I'm going to drag and add them to my design here. So for example, I want my main logo to be the rectangular one-line version. This is my favorite, but I want this one in case I need it for smaller spaces. So I'm going to have this one right here so that it's there, but it's clear that this one is the main logo. Next, if you remember, I just picked some fonts for my brand as well. So I'm going to go to text, click on add a heading. This is a heading. You can write pretty much whatever you want here for as long as you double click to select it, and then in the drop down you want to find the font that you selected as your heading font. So in my example, we had Bebas New as the font that I selected thanks to the Canva font combination tool, and so I'm going to write it here, and then below I'm going to click on add a little bit of body text, and the font that I had selected here was Montserrat, so I'll just type it here so that it shows up. Here it is, and I'm going to drag that below. Now, just so that we can see what it would actually look like as a full paragraph, you can go to Google and simply type lorem ipsum like this here, And then the first link, Lipsum generator, click on it and you can simply copy and paste this paragraph, which is no language at all. It's a made-up language that's very useful when you want to test out font, because it shows you what a paragraph of text would visually look like in this font. This is a bit long, so I'm going to shorten it. And here we have it. This is what my heading and my paragraph would look like. If you don't want this to be centered, you can go and click on this little icon here, which was align it to the left, and align this to it here. And so here we go, I have my heading and my body font right here. What I'm missing, this is maybe a bit big actually, so I'll just make sure that I make this a bit smaller. That's better. What I'm missing though are my colors, and that's definitely one of the most important things. So we want to go to elements here on the left. Then under shapes, you want to click on the square, and we want to make that a little bit smaller so that we have enough room for the 5 colors that we've picked. And then you want to copy and paste by doing Command C, Command V, or Control C, Control V if you're on a Windows computer. And you want to do that 4 times so that you have 5 square. And then I'm just going to make them a bit smaller. So that first color, the pink, I already have. It's perfect. That's what I want as my main color anyway. But then the second square, we want to start adding all the other hex codes that you saved when you work on your color palette. So in my example, I also had a blue, so I'm going to add that on my second color here. Then I go to my third color, click on new color here again, and change that up for my third color. My fourth color, I'll do the same thing here again. And my last one here was that dark gray, almost black. So this is what my color palette is. Now, something that's really helpful is to, and I want this to be a little smaller as well. It's a bit too big, so I'll just make sure that's much better. So I'll just make sure that I have the actual codes for these colors written below it as a reference. So if something is in the way, by the way, you can select it and then use that little lock here to keep it in position, but it's not going to be moved around when you work on other elements. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to lock all of them so that I'm free to add things around without moving them. See, if I click and try to move it now, I won't because it's been locked. If you want to unlock it, you can select it and then unlock here and you're free to move it again. So I'm just going to lock this back in position, and I'll go back under text and click on a little bit of body text. Make this much smaller, maybe 16, and then here I'll add in my actual hex code value for that specific color so that I now have that as a reference on the document. And then grab that and pull it below. I'm going to copy and paste and do this for all of my colors. And here we go, here's your brand style guide, all saved into one document, all your references, your logo, the colors that you're going to use with the hex code, as well as your typography here. Now, actually, one last tip here is to type in the heading and in the font, the actual name of the font at the beginning of it so that you know what it is when you look at it. So here I'm going to type Montserrat font. And here I'm going to type Bebas New. And stretch that across. That way we know straight away just by looking at it what this is. Now you can download this document to save it to your computer by clicking here. You can leave that as a white background. You don't necessarily need it as a transparent background. You can just click download and you're done. As you can see, it's been saved to my computer right here. And so now I have all of my brand elements in one nice brand style guide document. And last thing before I let you go is a tip for those of you who decide to use this Canva software that we've been using together and that want to keep using the premium version. As you know, you get 30 days for free, which you can cancel at any time in those 30 days, and that's fine if you don't want to keep the paid plan after that. But for those of you who do want to keep the paid plan, I would recommend that you go back to the home page of Canva as well. You click on Brand Kit, and then we've already uploaded our fonts right here. But if you are going to keep using Canva, you can actually also upload your color palette here and your brand logos so that every time you design something within the software, they have those saved and ready for you to use. It's a very useful especially for the color palette, for the brand colors. So I would go ahead here and type in Hola Mia, and then using yet again those hex code, add the 5 colors that I've picked in here so that I never have to type those hex codes after that. So whatever colors you pick here, so I'll just put some random ones just to show you. If let's say I save this as my Hola Mia palette, after that when I create a design, I will always have under the color option here my palette ready for me, so you never have to type those hex code ever again. So that's my tip for you. If you are using Canva, the paid version, and you plan on staying on it, having all these elements here is very helpful. And same thing for the heading, the subheading, and the body. You can say to Canva, my heading is Bebas and my subheading is Montserrat, and so is my body font. And here again, if you go and create a design, you will not only have the colors already saved for you under the color picker right here, but when you go to text and you drag and drop those elements, they already have your font in them. So the heading will always be the right font and the subheading will always be the right font, and same for the body as well. It's already Montserrat. And with that, this is our 6-step process complete. I hope that you had fun along the way and that you discovered some really cool and useful tools to help you brand your shop and design your own brand, even without any graphic design skills. Maybe you'll use some of those tools for a bit longer, like Canva, which I think is a great, very useful tool to have for anything to do with design in your handmade shop later on. Thank you so much for being with me, and best of luck with your handmade business.